Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. We're back here at Texas Motor Speedway. I'm at a vehicle event called the Auto Roundup, and guess what? We have that coupe style SUV everybody's talking about. This is the all-new 2022 Infiniti QX55. But before we get into this new style SUV from Infiniti, let's talk about what's going on here. The brand Infiniti. It's been around since 1989, if you could believe that. It's the premium brand of Nissan. New for 2022, they're bringing some of that old FX magic. If you've been following your Infiniti history, you know that they had a very sleek styled SUV known as the FX. This QX55 is almost like a descendant of that model. Now, there's a lot of premium luxury SUVs, whether they're standard SUVs or coupes, that are in the market today, but Infiniti is really trying to bring some fresh style and some really wonderful interior appointments to kind of separate from the rest of the pack. So let's go ahead, let's dive into this one and see, is it worth the price? Is it a standout in this segment of the SUV auto industry? Let's go ahead and find out. Right off the bat, love the color. Really makes it just pop and come alive in the Texas sun. We start at the front of the business. It's all new, so I don't have to keep saying new. We're starting with new headlight housing. So you're gonna get your LED headlight setup in there. It's almost like that jewel setup, but what's interesting is that you have a different size in each one, which kind of gives it a nice overall look. We're gonna have the LED daytime running lamps, and I think Infiniti does a great style with them. Look at the way they kind of wrap around and then just curve. I'm so glad it didn't come all the way back to this center portion over here by the grille. I'm glad that it kind of just stopped in the center of the headlight housing. Now, as we drop down, just a little bit of gloss black. Love the way this extends off the front fascia. You do have LED fog lamps, and we're gonna do a half zonk on this corner vent. Non-functionality here, but the great news is you do have functionality on the outside for an air curtain there. But I do like the way they brought some style and just a little bit of gloss black. It's not too heavy. The way it extends, this lower corner extends off the front fascia, very nicely done, and then we come across the grille. And what's interesting is that the designers in Japan really brought some fluid movement to something that's just sitting here stationary. Now, what's fascinating is this is supposed to replicate a bridge. So you have your bridge that goes across the top, and this is the water underneath the bridge. Love the chrome trim. Normally, I'm not a big chrome guy, but it's working great just around the perimeter, and then you're gonna have this nice, flat, metallic silver, that wave motion. You see it? Look at that, with that Infiniti badge in the center. Love this style, very crisp, very clean. You do have a forward-facing camera up top, which of course is one of those required things that you wanna see on this level of a luxury SUV. And then just a little bit of gloss black, nothing too crazy, but what I am really digging is this lower lip area that extends down. Just looking at this lower portion, it almost looks like something off a race car, to be honest with you. I'm not even stretching that one bit, the way it drops down, and you have functionality here. The great news is we are getting some turbocharged power across all the trims of the QX55, but very nice low slung hood and very wide, and that grille just spot on the money. When we get up onto the hood, love the way they take the rise from the chrome trim, goes into the hood, and then it just fades away like it never even existed. And then one thing that's really unique that I want to point out is you're going to have your rise that goes into the A-pillar, but then there's like this rise and a dip. I'm really digging this area of the hood on both sides. Really shows an attention to detail, to styling, to kind of separate it from the rest of the pack. They could have just went flat and it would have looked like a Nissan Murano. I'm glad that they went this route, QX55. Let's see what else we have. All new for 2022. Coming around the bend, you do have some flat black, nothing too crazy, so I'm okay with it for right now. I may issue a zonk later in this recording of this review, but for right now, I'm okay with it. The wheels, really nice style. So you have this multi-spoke design going on, some machined aluminum, some gunmetal metallic gray. If you're wondering, Joe, what's the size of this? This is a 20-inch wheel, 255 on the width, 45 series sidewall, and guess what? Standard across all trims, all-wheel drive. So power's going to all four wheels from that turbocharged engine. But I think the style and the color really works well with this coupe style of an SUV. As we come down the side, we are gonna have to zonk this fake looking vent here. We're gonna have to zonk, but I do like the little bit of chrome, nothing too heavy, kind of just comes out of nowhere and almost runs into the front door. Gloss black on your mirror caps. You have some bright shiny metalwork, top and bottom, chrome finish on the door handles. Look at the side sill. Look at the way they extended it down, gives it a nice extra depth. There's many different layers here. It's like a Tootsie Roll pop. Many different layers, and boy, oh boy, don't you want to get to the center. Well, guess what? We're gonna be getting inside soon into that center area where you're gonna be spending a lot of time. Gloss black on these very low slung roof rails, super clean. I'm telling you, normally I don't like bright, shiny metalwork. It's working. And then there's that coupe style. So we're chopping off some height and bringing it down. Very sexy quarter window there. I'm actually digging that. It's not just gloss black. It's a nice way of extending that trim. And also the body line comes out of the passenger door, goes into the fender, and then we get to the tail end of the business. What do we got going on here? First of all, we're gonna zonk this guy. It just, I don't know, take it off, throw it away. It would clean up the whole look if there was a way to tuck it underneath this very low roof spoiler. But let me show you, I'm gonna have Lori kind of showcase how the body lines come off the roof into this low spoiler. So it really gives it a nice, not only style, but obviously that aerodynamic efficiency as it extends off the back. You do have quite a bit of surface area, also giving it a unique look. I can't wait to see what it looks like looking out the back of this glass, but I think it's gonna be okay. Actually, I think it really is gonna be okay. LED lighting, all new, looking good. A little bit of gloss black, very interesting design elements, and the way that they took the DOT, Department of Transportation, required reflectors and dropped them in there to give us that nice flared fender look, all-wheel drive, Infiniti. And look what they did. It's actual letters, but it's sunken into the metal. See, it can be done. It's not just a crazy Joe Rady thing. They actually sunk each one of these letters into the bodywork. Beautiful Infiniti badge. And then as we drop down, QX55, a nice simulated rear diffuser. I'm on the fence about the exhaust. Right now, I'm not issuing a zonk because I'm glad it's brushed aluminum on the trim of the exterior there, and they are functional pieces behind their functional exhaust pipes. So we are okay with that. And just some simple flat black, nothing too crazy, which I think is smart as your kids are pulling their junk out of the back of this thing. But why don't we pop the hood and see what's powering our QX55. All right, guys, time to get underneath the hood. You do have hood struts to keep the hood up. Underneath the hood, you're getting that VC turbo power. What does VC stand for? It stands for variable compression turbo. So what are we looking at? We're looking at a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4, 268 horsepower, 280 pound-feet of torque. I think the weak link in the chain here is gonna be the CVT. We're gonna have to zonk that. It would have been nice to have a 7-speed or a 9-speed automatic. You are getting all-wheel drive though, across all the trims, 0 to 60 in about 6.4 seconds. MPGs, 22 in the city, 28 in the highway, and the vehicle does weigh 4,150 pounds. Underneath the hood, the plastic cover and whatnot, it looks all right. We're not gonna go too crazy on this because really how many owners are actually gonna pop their hood to stare at the engine? But why don't we go ahead, let's get to the interior and see what big things are in store in this QX55. All right, guys, we're inside this 2022 Infiniti QX55. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I've been eyeballing those German Euro SUV coupes that I've seen you bring here on Rady's Rides. I used to have an Infiniti FX that my ex-fiance stole and crashed it into a tree. How much is this one? Because I really like this QX55. So MSRP, this is what's called a sensory trim. It's their top trim. They use some very unique adjectives to designate the different trims. This sensory trim QX55 is right at $58,000. Let's see what you get for the money. To the door panels. Absolutely love how they raised the bar on themselves at Infiniti. So you're gonna get soft touch material. Love the white contrast stitching. That is real open pore wood, not the cheap plastic stuff. The silver trim, very exquisite, nice attentions to detail. We have the optional Bose sound system with those very, very tasteful speaker covers. And then the armrest is soft with more of that wonderful stitching. No gloss black. Door pocket is supersized, so you're easily gonna be able to fit 2 foot-long subs from Subway. Get a meatball, parm, and then why don't you go ahead and get a cold cut combo for yourself. Get yourself a bottle of water to wash it all down, and then going from the door panel to the dash, same story. Soft touch material, the stitch work is great. Love the open pore wood. You're almost gonna get a splinter. That's how real this wood is. Silver trim, soft touch. Then we get to the infotainment side of things. Now, some people might say this is dated. Some people might say that they love it. What I like about it is that it's integrated. What I don't love about it, and I am gonna zonk, is that it's a dual screen setup. It seems a little redundant, but you have your navigation up top. It does showcase what your temperature is for the AC, and it is a touchscreen as well, which is good news. I know a lot of you are gonna like that. We drop down, we have our second screen. So if you're wondering, well, Joe, what are these screen sizes when it comes to this infotainment? So you're basically looking at 8 inches up top, 7 inches down below. The 7 inch is also a touchscreen. You're gonna get your Apple CarPlay. You're gonna get your Android Auto. It is calculating my route back home, which I'm not ready to go home yet. We're staying here in Texas. So it's nice to have all those features. Very, very easy to use. So that's another great thing about this. You have your AC controls, of course, dual climate. We have heated seats, ventilated seats, and CD player. So get out the old CDs, listen to Pearl Jam, listen to some Run DMC. Like this nice lid here. You open this up, we got 2 cup holders, USB-C, USB 12 volt, and a place for your atomic fireballs. You got your standard Infiniti key fob. Still looking good. It's a nice weight. It's not gonna poke you in the groin and not, make it to where you can't have kids. So that's good news. Close that up. Love the material. Look at the way they brought that down. Really, really nice. You have a direct drive control knob for the infotainment screen for the navigation. And of course, like I said, we have forward facing camera and the 360s. So this is where we are out front with the trajectory. And then we have the 360. It's on the grainy side, which is a bit of a bummer, but it is nice to have that. And then there's your backup camera. So same story with trajectory. Go back to park. Before we switch though, let me show you the drive modes. You have the D mode, which stands for drive. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this in drive and then put it back into park. And then bam, look at those camera angles. Now I'm gonna show you the modes. So personal, don't get personal with me, but what you could do is you could adjust everything to your own personal taste. Sport, standard, and eco. Does anybody want to take a guess which one we're going in? Yes, we're going in sport here on Rady's Rides. But back to the center console area, like the start stop button, nice silver. This little guy here is going to control your CVT. And then you got the silver with the D mode selector. And then look at the nice soft material, the stitch work. Open the door, oh my God. Felt lining, and you're going to be able to put that Ken Griffey Jr. baseball and Jose Canseco. Before he did the steroids and got himself in trouble, you got that baseball sign. You can keep that in here, and you have a USB. And the seats, I'm loving the style. The leather, the stitch work, a little bit of microfiber suede Alcantara material, nice bolstering, electric assist for the passenger and the driver, and you have a standard size sunroof, which is a nice touch. But why don't you come over to the business end? I want to show you behind this leather wrapped steering wheel in this QX55. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. You do have 2 memory seat settings. I do like the way they have a nice, tasteful Infiniti badge on this aluminum sill panel here. It would be nice if this lit up, though. I will have to wait until nightfall to see if this actually lights up, but I don't think it does. So it would be nice if that lit up. You do have your seat controls. Easy to get to, that lower lumbar, feeling really, really good right about now. And then steering wheel, I love the Infiniti steering wheel. Thickness is great, the leather, it's got that nice crisscross contrast stitching, a little bit of silver, flat black on the buttons. It is electric tilting and telescoping, and you do have paddles on the back of the steering wheel to go through those simulated gears. Even though we have a CVT, you do have simulated gears. I'm gonna put this back onto auto, the headlights on auto, and then the dash. It's a little bit of a mixed bag. So you have your digital display in the center, which is nice, but it would be nicer if that was a full TFT display. There's our variable compression turbo with the boost. So you got your boost gauge, you got your chassis control gauge, you got your engine oil when service is due, and you have your analog speedometer, tachometer, fuel gauge, and coolant gauge, which is really nice. The great news is it's easy to see, easy to understand. I don't mind analog gauges. I'm a big fan of them. You tell me in the comments section how you feel about that gauge cluster. You do have a head-up display, which is a nice little extra cherry on top. But why don't we get to the back seat and see if your taller passengers are going to be able to fit in this sleek Coupe QX55. All right, guys, backseat time in the QX55 now. It is interesting what they did here. So you have the leather, which is nice, but then you have the plastic, which I guess if you are a parent, your kids are probably going to kick the backs of the seat because they don't like you anymore or whatever. You know, you didn't buy them that toy that they wanted. So I get it. I do like, though, the way they gave a nice leather pocket here for the backs of both seats. So you could easily put, I would say, 3 or 4 personal pan pizzas, because we got some pretty good stretch on the fabric, which is nice. 2 rear AC vents, and then guess what? They got you covered. 12 volt and a USB. Plus, I like the way they got a nice digital temperature gauge back here, so your passengers can adjust their own AC. I have my own pocket here, and being 6 feet tall, you saw I had plenty of room up front. Surprisingly, I have plenty of room in the back seat as well, even with the sexy sloping roof. Say that 20 times fast. You do have sliding seats, and of course, get ready for this, reclining seats. And they actually recline a pretty good angle in a smaller SUV. And then you got your nice leather armrest, 2 cup holders with a pencil holder here. So if your kids are doing their homework, God forbid, and they need a pencil, they can put it right here in their pencil holder, flip it back. Let's get back to that cargo area though. I want to see what we could haul in this QX55. All right, guys, time to get in the cargo area. I know you're saying, Joe, how do you do it? Is it like a clapper? Do you have to snap a couple times? No. They did a great job hiding the button to open up the rear hatch. You hit right there, right at the tip of the Infiniti badging, and look at the amount of room. Now, what's interesting is that you're actually only losing some height in this area where I'm waving my hand. Other than that, you're getting a nice tall area, you're getting a nice wide area. There is a 12 volt on the driver's side, so if you're gonna do that tailgating, if you're gonna go, down to the beach or to the campground, 27 cubic feet of space with the seats up. You fold the seats down, it's 54.1 cubic feet of space, and what I do love is they give you handles. Watch this. Locked and loaded, are you ready? 1, 2, 3, boom. Seats fold down. That's gonna allow you to do your Costco run, your Sam's Club run, or if you're going to Home Depot or maybe Lowe's. The great news is if you're getting some snacks, we got you covered there. So you're easily gonna be able to fit, I would say, probably about 10 boxes of Twinkies, Ding Dongs, Ho-Hos, Zingers, and every other snack food that you want right there. But you know what? It's not just about the snacking, it's about the driving while you're snacking. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go on throttle in this variable compression turbo all-wheel drive QX55. All right, guys, we're in the Infiniti QX55. We're outside Texas Motor Speedway. I just have it in regular automatic mode. We are in sport. I want to test out the all-wheel drive and, of course, show you that on-throttle acceleration. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Here we go, on throttle. So as you can tell, you're getting those simulated gears. I'm happy to report that the simulated gears do a pretty decent job of keeping that loud CVT drone to a lower minimum. The interesting thing is when you're in sport mode, you are getting sound pumped in through the speakers. It sounds okay. It doesn't sound 100% real, but the good news is it doesn't sound like a Formula One car either, like some other luxury SUVs simulate their sound. What you probably noticed though is that there was no wheel spin whatsoever. It got the power to the ground very, very efficiently, and it was very effective from the launch. Now, behind the wheel, the great news is visibility out that small Rear glass is actually excellent. Side mirrors look supersized, even though from the outside they don't, which is good. And then you're getting those nice peaks on the side of each hood to really give you those great visual reference points as you're driving. Waving to people as they drive by. They didn't wave back, but that's okay. But as we're driving down the road, the good news is that when you go into sport mode, or you go into any of the modes, it's actually going to adjust the suspension, the steering feel, and because we are in sport mode, you are going to feel the bumps a little bit more. Getting to the infotainment system, even though it's a split screen setup, it's very, very easy to get to. And I guess the great news is that with the split screen, you always have your navigation up, even if you might be fumbling through something else on the bottom side, as I almost fumble out of my lane here. But going down the road, like the feedback that I'm getting, let's go ahead and from a roll do on throttle. Here we go, on throttle. So overall, you know, it's not mind-blowing quick, but it's also not slow, which is nice. Would be interesting to see it with a 7-speed or a 9-speed automatic. Let me go ahead, go to that D mode switch and go into standard, which is going to be more of a comfort setting overall. And it does adjust things to really bring a little bit more comfort to you as you are behind the wheel going down the road here. But I'm quite impressed with the comfort of the seats up front and also the amount of headroom that I have, not only up front, but actually not too bad for a coupe SUV for the backseat passengers as well. Another thing you're going to notice driving one of these QX55s is it's fairly quiet. I mean, there is a little bit of road noise because you're rolling on 20-inch wheels, but wind noise, not an issue, and the overall road noise is not an issue as well. Let's go ahead. I want to shift with these paddles. So I'm going to put it into manual shift mode. There's a little bit of a gear indicator, or I should say a simulated gear indicator on the bottom of the display. We're going back to sport mode, and we're going to do another on throttle acceleration from a dead stop, just like you love. But I'm going to use the paddles this time. So on throttle, here we go. So with the paddles, you're going through those simulated gears. It gives you a little bit more engagement and control, obviously, as you're shifting and whatnot. But overall, pleasantly surprised with this QX55. We're going to get back to Texas Motor Speedway and wrap this one up. Hopefully it gave you a nice overall feel and review of the vehicle. We're going to wrap it up, so I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, it's been another great day here at Texas Motor Speedway. I definitely got to thank Kyle and the rest of the crew at Infiniti USA for allowing Ladies Rides access to this all-new QX55. Is it worth the price? I think, you know what? It's bringing some very interesting styling, some great features, and of course, all-wheel drive, which is going to keep you safe no matter what the climate does. But if you're looking for this style of SUV, you definitely want to add this to your list of vehicles to take for a little test drive and a little spin. But if you want to keep seeing all new 2022s, 2023s, I'll even get you a 2050 vehicle if I could get my hands on it. If you want to see that on Randy's Rides, leave a comment in the comment section. If you're new and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you. Thank you for being part of the Randy's Rides family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you, click the first link, become a Randy's Rides Patreon member. Click that second link, get yourself some Randy's Rides merch. Got to give it up to the queen of the camera. She's holding down the fort. She's smoke checking all the other videographers on YouTube with her amazing skills and her wonderful smile. Thank you, Lori, for all that you do. Show us some love in the comment section. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.